This is the Marvel Legends series, Avengers Endgame, Marvel's War Machine. The figure is part of the new Professor Hulk Build-A-Figure wave of Marvel Legends, and here's the rest of the assortment. I picked up this figure at Hobby Corner, and he looks massive. I wasn't sure I was going to pick up this figure, but he actually looks pretty good in packaging. But we'll have to wait and see. Final verdict on this figure. Let's get him out of packaging. And here is the War Machine Mark 6 out of packaging. And boy, is the figure absolutely gorgeous. Hasbro really put a lot of time and effort in sculpting this figure, putting details on it, and giving him some firepower. He comes with two removable arm-mounted cannons. He's got one removable shoulder-mounted cannon, and everything else is just pure, glorious War Machine. Obviously, it does not come with these effects. You can easily get these from the plethora of Iron Man Marvel X figures we've gotten over the years. It fits nicely. I'm glad they put some allowance there, some peg holes to fit that blast effect, but he's just absolutely gorgeous. Now, before we go any further, some quality issues that you'd want to check out and be wary of before purchasing this figure. If you see several on the shelves and you're sifting through several of them, first thing you will notice is there's a lot of quality issues on the silver paint apps on this figure. Just make sure you get one that has decently painted silver paint apps that have no black scratching here and there. I've seen several that had streaks of black and gray on the face, on the chest, here on the thigh. This one was the best one I could find, as you can see right there. Case in point, there's a lot of those. This was the cleanest one I could find, so just be aware of that. Just make sure you get a figure that has very clean silver paint apps. The other one you need to look out for is a lot of the gray plastic is unpainted. That's stock plastic that they molded the pieces in, and it'll get a lot of that. I don't know if it's wash or super glue residue, but there's a lot of those happening. The back part is impossible to see, obviously, but this is what I'm talking about. I've actually seen several figures that had this type of, I don't know what it is, gunk or wash splattered on the thigh, on the lower leg, and you know, for those who are really into nitpicking and really want the best figure, you might want to check that one out. The red as well, bleeding into the black. This one is the most perfect one I've seen. Sometimes the white is misaligned left or right, but other than that, everything looks spot on. I really love this figure. Articulation for the figure, he's got a ball jointed neck that is on a hinge, can go this way, that way, a little bit like this, and like that. He's got a ball jointed upper torso, ball hinge shoulders, bicep swivel, hinge, single hinge elbow, interesting. Ball hinge wrists that go in and out. I forgot to mention something, I'll talk about that later. Ball hinge hips, or ball jointed hips, sorry, it's not a hinge, it's actually a ball joint. Goes up to here, there, there. Thigh swivel, double jointed knees that are very tight. First time around, you do it, very tight. And ball hinge ankles, a little bit of the rocker pivot. So these pieces are soft they're hard, solid in the middle, but in the tips they're a little bit soft. The shoulder pads, they look great, but my big issue on these shoulder pads is that you can't really keep the figure posed with his arms spread out wide like that, because this is what happens to those shoulder pads. It's like a pseudo leather type of soft PVC material that really just bends and just gets out of shape every time you put the arms that way, and then you run the risk of it being deformed and you have to just close it in. So that's probably the only downside of the figure's sculpt that I can see, because you can't really pose him that way, and you'll have to keep him in a sort of museum pose like that, with the arms just down to his side. So it's kind of a bummer, but I don't know how they could have fixed that. They could have put it on a hinge, but it would probably be more costly. I don't know. Okay, one last quality issue I forgot to mention is, now somebody mentioned in my other comments, the Transformers reviews, that the curse has been lifted on my bad luck on quality issues. Apparently it's not. It hasn't been lifted. I'm still getting a string of bad luck with these issues. This is actually the second copy of the figure I picked up. I picked up 2 figures from Hobby Corner. The first one I picked up had a missing plate right here on his left hand. Now this is apparently not molded in. It is a separate piece. This back of the hand plate, it's a separate piece, and actually inside there's a groove for that tab, for it to tab in, and it's super glued. As you can see, there's a little bit shiny piece, shiny streak right there. That's probably super glue, so make sure that that piece is on, because the first copy I got of this figure had that missing plate. I guess the same is true for this one. This one is probably also a separate piece, so you can see through in the packaging. You're able to see it here and here, so it's very easy to spot if it's missing that plate. So make sure you double check your figures, because you know me, bad luck with quality issues follows me anywhere I go, and I had a missing piece, and that's the reason for the delay of this review. I actually got rid of that figure. I went back to the store to see if I could find another one. It was absolutely sold out, and I waited another week, and they restocked, and they were selling it for much higher, a little bit higher. They were selling it for $38 now, and I didn't care. I just had to get this figure. I thought it was one of the best figures, if not the best figure in the wave. Here he is with his good old buddy Tony in the Mark 7. This is the first 10 years. Marvel Legends Mark 7 Iron Man figure, and he's right there. He scales absolutely well. Maybe he should be just a tad bit bigger, but I think it's perfect. I'm quite happy with this scale. Now, people were saying it's not the correct paint apps, because in the movie, if you watch it several times, you'll probably notice that he's got the Iron Patriot colors on this armor. To me, the whole scene was pitch black. It was dark, and you couldn't really see those red, white, and blue colors on the armor. Even I didn't notice it the first time around. So him actually being in this dark gray, blackish gray, and silver, I actually like it. Actually, this is my favorite colors of the MCU War Machine. So I'm glad Hasbro didn't put him in the Iron Patriot colors. I'm actually pretty happy that they kept him in this color. Maybe it was a last minute change with the Russo brothers who changed the colors, and they had already sent the samples of the design to Hasbro, and Hasbro had already produced the figure. But for whatever reason, I am very, very glad that they kept the original colors on this figure, despite its inaccuracy. So some final thoughts on the figure. The figure is a great figure. I mean, if you big fan of the War Machine in the MCU, this is an absolute must-have. I think this is perhaps the best Marvel Legends War Machine figure that Hasbro has ever come up with, and I'm very, very impressed with it. I didn't think I was gonna like it this much, and I know I say that to all the figures, but it really blew me away. I think the figure deserves a 10 out of 10. Best of luck to everybody hunting him down, and he's packed super case, so no need to worry. There's plenty for everybody. This has been the Marvel Legends series from the Avengers Endgame and the Hulk Build-A-Figure Wave, Marvel's War Machine. Thanks for watching.